Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be speaking about my top 10 favorite highlighters. And if you know anything about me and my channel, I am so picky when it comes to highlights. It's definitely the smallest section in my collection, and these 10 make up for most of my collection. For me, when it comes to highlights, they have to be not super texture enhancing. Every highlight's going to be a little texture enhancing. It can't be super glittery, and overall it just has to wow me. And these ones are super wow worthy. So let's get into it. So I'm starting with the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. I use the shade 10 Be My Highlight. This is the highlight I reach for the most often. I gravitate towards this pretty much on a daily basis. I love how subtle it is, but you can build it up to an intense effect like this. But on the cheek, it looks so nice and softening. I love how there is no undercast at all. It just adds this beautiful, subtle, satiny glow that I find to be so flattering. It almost has like a softening effect to it too, which is quite rare when it comes to highlights. There's no chunks, no visible pearl. It's just a super smooth and fine satin. So I find it super flattering. To follow up with that, I have a few glow boosters that I'm in love with. The first one is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. This one stands out to me because it is on the thicker side, but I really enjoy it because that way I get more of a spotlight dewy glow. In comparison to some other glow boosters, I find this one to be more on the intense side because of its opacity, but once you blend it out on your skin, it doesn't look like a huge visible layer. It just has this gorgeous strobing effect, such a fine pearl as well, so it has the softening feature to it. This is also a really fun product to experiment with. You can mix it in with like a liquid bronzer or a blush, or like even your body lotion just to add some glow. I love doing that in the summer if my legs are exposed. Glow boosters are so fun for that. They're so versatile, but just using this as a cheek highlight, it's so cute. This one's newer to me, but it combines a few that I've loved for years. This is the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter. I was trying to downplay how much I like this stuff in my first impression using it, but I have been using it pretty much daily since then, underneath of my foundation and all the ways you can use a glow booster. It is gorgeous. I swatched it next to the e.l.f. I'll do a nice arm swatch of each one so you can see like an obvious difference in between. I use the shade 2, and you can just see it's so extra glowy. It just has this dew about it. It's very smoothing, it's not texture enhancing. Just the way it applies is so nice. It has my favorite qualities from each of the glow boosters I have in my collection, kind of like that gel, serumy feel that the Auric Glow Lust has, the see-through fine pearl that the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter has without like a drying texture, and the super pearly glow that the e.l.f. one offers, but just dewier. It's lovely. It stands out to me a ton. It's also very hassle-free. I can use it with a brush, a finger, or a sponge, and I get a beautiful result every single time. Dior knows what they're doing with their highlights because I have a few other favorites here. I only realized it just now seeing them all lined up on my desk, but they also recently launched these ones, which are super fun. They come in a range of really cool colors. Some of them kind of look like blush tones. This is the Forever Glow Maximizers. I love to highlight with the shades pink and gold. They do have a similar-ish feeling to this one, just thinner in consistency, and they have funner colors, and they're quite a bit more dramatic. So here's swatches of the two shades I was just talking about. So here's pink and here's gold, so you can really see the glow. But these are really nice to work with. They seep right into your base. They look like one, but they add a really nice shift of dimension. The only one that's glittery is the pure white one. I always say that just to warn you guys. I believe it's the shade Pearl. That's the only one that has chunky pieces. Otherwise, it's a pretty smooth pearl. But just like this one, I can rely on these to look perfect every single time. I have one more Dior favorite, and this is the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette. I have the shade 001 Universal. So this is a fun quad of highlights. I had this in my collection years ago, and I decluttered it for some reason because I was insane, and it was always one of the products I regretted on decluttering. And I recently picked this one up again. They did reformulate some of their products, but it feels the same to me from what I can recall. I often mix the white and the gold together just so I get kind of like an in-between color. I use the bronzy shade on my eyes, and the pink one is a really cute blush topper. And I love to pair this pink one when I'm wearing like a pink blush or like a really nice complementary color. Like even berry blushes look amazing with this on top. It's really fun to experiment. As powder highlights go, they're on the more intense side. I would describe these ones as pretty glimmery. There is a little bit of glitter, but it's so fine. It doesn't look chunky on the face at all. I love how these ones blend into the cheek. They have a little bit of like a hydrated feel, so it sinks into your base the more you polish it. And the more you blend it, the more beautiful it gets. And you can really achieve a gorgeous like spotlight glow effect with these. So that's it for Dior. Now let's explore some other brands, shall we? This is my Trinny London, the Right Light Highlight in the shade Candlelight. I have loved this for so long. This is kind of like a balmier glow situation. I'm having trouble getting a good swatch with my long nails. It has a really nice silky balmy texture. So of course that's going to mesh into the skin really well, but it doesn't remain feeling super balmy. It just looks nice and dewy, but it's not sticky at all. I reach for this one if I want kind of like that wet look without feeling uncomfortable. I love the looks of a true balm highlight, but I just can't stand the texture on my face or how my hair gets stuck in there. That doesn't happen with this formula. This next one is newer to the market. It's the Fenty Beauty Demi'glow Light-Diffusing Highlighter. I have the shade Pretty Purlz. This one's very intense because it's the lightest shade that they offer in this formula. It's also limited edition, which I don't understand because it's so nice. This has such a wispy, softening feel. As you can see in the swatch here, it's super intense. But oh boy, is it ever gorgeous. I just use the tiniest amount and I really polish it into my cheekbone, and then it looks really nice and creamy. I like how easily you can alter the effect with this one. You can either get just a little wisp of glow or you can go heavy like this, and it always looks really nice. It's so see-through, very easy to use. I love it. I have not been fond of any of the Fenty highlights yet, but I am over the moon with this one. You too, Lenny? This is going so fast. I already have just 2 left. So this one was very different for my usual tastes. This is the Rare Beauty highlight. I love the shade Exhilarate. This for a long time was the only highlight I was reaching for. These are super intense. I would classify these as the most glimmery in this video for sure. Like these are like a modernized 2015 highlight. Like look at that spotlight. But as always, I just take a little bit, polish it in, and it looks fantastic. I just love the effect it adds to my cheekbone, and I also love using this on the eyes and in my inner corner. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't really match my usual tastes. That's because it's like pretty glittery, but the glitter is like microscopic. I wouldn't say it's like a pearly look. It's like a very tiny little glitter. This is what I kind of envision pixie dust looking like in real life. The only reason why I really like this is because it's consistent. There's not like a bunch of different sized pieces in there, and it's overall very smooth. It's so little. So that's why it's made such an impact. They did recently come out with blush versions of those highlights. I would also classify these as highlights. They're not very flattering for blush, but I love to top my blushes with this as like a tone-on-tone highlight. This is the shade Cheer, my favorite. You can see it's very faint for a blush, but the glow is just like a highlight. Gorgeous. And this last one has been in my collection for years. It's the one I've loved consistently the most. It's the Nars Fort de France. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that little inside joke. Anyways, Fort de France. This one was ahead of its time for sure. I feel like this came out at a time where we were really into intense strobing and really funky colored highlights and chunkier highlights, whereas this was like such a smooth, silky satin look. I just love its effect. It just looks super dewy and glossy and glowy, but it's a powder, so it's super comfortable and it's going to stay in place all day. Wow, this flew by. It felt like it took 2 minutes to film this video. That was crazy. This was so fun to film. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know which category I should do next in the comments. I'll also have everything I talked about listed and linked in the description box down below, so feel free to check that out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!